Hey, there's Joe. I'll call the meeting to order. Ron, could you take the roll call, please?
Sure. Kroski.
Here.
Hutton.
Here.
Silver here. Smith.
Here.
Kramer.
Here.
And Walker.
Here.
Wow, full house tonight. It's the weather. Good to see you, Joe.
Yeah,
I'm
see
glad
you
that you
too.
had time to make
I
it.
do have to make the meeting short. I'll have to probably leave in like 35, 40 minutes. I have to go pick up a car and buy in, so
Okay.
just wanted to make an appearance.
Not a problem, yeah.
We know you live.
Yeah, I'm across the street now.
Okay, next on the agenda, approval of tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second that one.
Motion by Steve, second by Billy, to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Past minutes. Get a chance to look at those.
I'll make a motion, we approve them.
I'll second.
Motion by Billy, second by Ron, to approve past minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report. We've got a nice balance. But I will point out, and you probably saw the letter, $40 fee for the Wisconsin Association of Historic Preservation Commission's membership.
I was wondering what, I knew it had to be something, I was trying to, Wisconsin, okay.
Yeah, it's actually right on that back page
Is
of
that every
ours.
2 years or 1 year? I don't remember.
I'm gonna say it's every 1 year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Thank you.
You're,
Thank you for.
I paid it for you all.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
we didn't know.
I didn't get a a notice or anything, so it must have came right
Oh,
to
you
City
never
Hall.
told me.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks,
We
Ed.
put the stuff in your inbox, John, so.
And that's a problem because I never check my inbox.
Put it in your packet.
I don't either.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the financial report?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ron, second by Joe, to approve the financial report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments. No one in the audience tonight. We have no certificate of appropriateness applications to approve or look at. So, number 8, update on 107.5 Watson Street. Joe, I don't know if you know that that's just 2 doors from
Theater.
the theater.
Okay.
They put in 3 new windows up above. Is it 2 or 3?
Three, I think it was
3,
three.
yeah.
There's 3.
And the ordinance and our design manual states that you need to, if there's a brick arch, you have to fill the whole brick arch.
See,
They didn't understand that at the time.
They
They
did it
just
like
put it
this.
straight across.
Oh,
So-
so that,
They didn't
did
do
they
that.
board that void up there?
Yeah.
Oh,
So Sue Leahy gave them a letter that they're in violation of it, and they're working on fixing the problem. They know, they apologized, they didn't understand the ordinance, or the design manual, I should say. And so they're actually working on it.
okay.
That's the only update I have on it. And we'll just keep it on the agenda again for
Keep it on.
next month, yeah. Now, down to number 9, Southwest Historic District signage. I kind of threw Matt into that. He had some information on it.
Mostly I just have the, let's see, which one is the southwest one? Ransom?
Yeah, that area.
Yeah. This is what we have. This at least was, I don't know where the signs are. If you want for next meeting, I can go through and just see if we can get a copy, is the copier available? Just, yeah, just make a copy of that, and then I could maybe
Then
just
you
go
could-
go
sure.
through and mark with a highlighter or something like that where all the signs
She
are.
didn't have the dots on there where they wanted to put.
No.
Okay.
Right. And I think we kind of talked about hitting the main ones off of Thorns, starting on Thorn Street, and then a couple on Watson there, or off of Watson, and just kind of hitting the outside to start with. So, but I'll let you, if the commission agrees, to kind of mark them, and then we can look at it next month again, and
And you have an idea how many signs like we would need, and also if there might not be poles where we need them actually. to be.
correct, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, did Pat do that?
I remember,
Like that?
I remember sure walking around our neighborhood, this was almost 2 years ago now, but
Did she
Yeah.
do all that? And then
Yeah,
she marked
she
them?
had marks on the
Yeah,
map.
on a map like this, she
Yeah, it
did.
was on
Yeah,
the
how
map.
many corners or how many poles were
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
I remember that.
I don't know if I have that.
I definitely think the boundary should be
Well, yeah,
somewhat
basically
on
it'd be the boundary.
right.
And then what
So
we
we're just gonna move that to the next meeting? This whole-
Yes, then
Okay.
Matt can,
I just-
Matt can get that a copy or copies made. That's fine. Then we'll get a number and then we can get some prices going on it.
Right.
I'd like to, actually, I don't know, I'd like to by the end of summer.
have one
Hey.
district sign.
Yeah, right,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. That gives us, 5 months or something like that. I don't know if we need to set a target date, but that would be,
That'd be pretty hard to do until we know, how long it's gonna take for them to make the signs. Main Street, Craig, how long did it take for them to make the signs?
We don't have them yet.
Okay,
And that's about 5 months ago.
yeah.
all right.
But at least if we can make our,
Yeah,
yes.
probably.
I don't want to prolong it for another year or
Right.
anything
No,
like that.
we have the money. so-
Yeah, we got the money. Adam paid, or the city paid for the downtown, which we were gonna pay for, but.
Yeah.
So that's going good that way. Any other ideas on that? If we, hit the outside boundaries for sure.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's where you need it, is on the outside boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
basically. I don't think there's any crossroads in there besides, maybe one.
Well,
Well,
And that'd be.
Thorn
towards the
Street is
interior,
like
right?
the,
I would say Thorn goes through.
yeah. I think definitely with Thorn and now going down to the college football field,
Right.
it would be nice to dress that up. Okay, well, we'll have Matt again on that for next month.
Kind of speaking of the college, off topic, does anyone know if they plan on putting up the Bowens Woods sign again? I know that fell over or was pushed over within the past year, and I first noticed it in that little ravine, so I threw it back up on the sidewalk so someone from the college would notice it. So I go walking by there.
You go down that trail all the way to.
Well, I just took the sidewalk down Thorn Street, and it's
Oh.
like that. There was like a big brown sign
Oh,
right on the
yeah,
edge of the
it's
sidewalk.
right up where that house
Yeah.
used to be.
And I haven't checked to see
Okay.
if
It
it
got
was.
knocked down.
I know,
It was laying there for quite a while.
Yeah, and I saw it was gone. I was kind of hoping it went into the proper hands and someone
Hopefully.
just didn't take it, but
Might be in somebody's dorm.
I was gonna say it's in a dorm room.
Yeah,
They'll come
chances
out
are.
tonight. We have to go in a dumpster.
I can tell Travis, see if he can contact
Yeah, that'd
somebody
be
at the
great.
college about it.
Yeah,
Good idea.
find out.
That's
Okay.
a brass sign, isn't it?
I thought it was brown wooden.
brown.
like,
It was wood.
yellow
Yeah,
with
it's
lettering
wood,
on it or
yeah.
Yellow,
something.
And now, like I mentioned, we've been walking the dogs past there, and it's like, hey, wait, where's that sign?
I mean, I took a picture of it 'cause just for my records, so, like just to have the photo of it. So if anyone ever needs to know what was on it, if it went missing, I got the.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, good. Number 10, design manual grant status. We leave that on to have Adam answer that.
I have no answer.
No answer. We're gonna leave it on again for next month, and if we get anything, I don't know if we will get any answers on that or not.
I think if we just keep our eye open for the state historical society grants again, and maybe we're able to reapply. So if anybody is on their newsletters or sees anything that comes up, just.
Okay, do you
let
get
me know.
any,
I don't
'Cause I
remember
don't get-
seeing anything,
yeah,
but I can see what.
Okay.
Something
I think we get them at the Historical Society.
It used to be their CLG, their Certified Local Government Grant Program. I think it's an annual thing, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
I thought it was annual or, because we just applied last year. It's been we applied in the last year, we did. Last year.
Yeah, I feel like when
Yeah.
it came on, that was kind of the first topics of discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have enough points or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's right, the point system.
Well, we'll keep our eyes open for that. Haas Brewery barn discussion and the structural engineering report. That would be Adam, if you got anything. If not, we'll,
But the next meeting.
yes.
I'm just looking up that grant.
Okay.
I got something here, so we just reached out to the engineering firm that we generally work with that did some bridge inspections. I just got a couple copies. They put together just a brief proposal to do a review of the building. Obviously, it's $8,000.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I struggle with, and I shared this with Alan at Public Works, we both sort of struggled with that level of cost to determine the structural integrity of it. Obviously, they're taking it to the level of putting together a full-blown kind of report analysis and looking at the totality of it all. The reason we struggle with it is it's a lot of money to tell us something that we probably already know. And so I would say, taking a step back, and if any of you are interested in participating in a walkthrough of the building without having a quorum, so not all of you, but with myself, Alan, and the building inspector, Sue Leahy, just setting up a time, maybe in the next month or two, to put together a kind of quick and dirty report about what the condition currently is, and just trying to make some conclusions, draw some conclusions about what the future holds for the building. Ultimately, this comes down to cost and priority. $8,000 is a lot of money, but it's minor compared to the the future spend to maintain this structure or to make sure that it stabilizes. I don't feel that we are at a point where this is an emergent situation or emergency where it's gonna fall in. But then again, if we get a bad flood and a wall of water hits that barn, you look out, I'm just saying. So, I have reached out to the DNR, their waterways individuals, to see what requirements there would be for removal, being that it is over the creek. As long as the riverbanks and the elements that are in the creek remain, they don't really require a permit from a waterway disturbance. So you could remove the property, remove the building. The biggest thing would then be following all of the DNR guidelines for disposal, and as well as ensuring that the materials didn't fall into the creek. We would have to do environmental testing, I think, before we would, move or tear down the structure, if that were an option. So tearing it down would have to be, you'd have to do your lead paint and asbestos testing. You have to ensure that during the process of deconstruction, that doesn't obviously chip or fall into the creek. So that's up to the contractor, right? That's kind of how you'd bid it out. Obviously, preservation, and this commission is for that. The cost to preserve the building in its current location and whatnot, where does that fall on the priority list and what does it cost? Kind of hard to say. Also discussed the idea of moving it, you know, how would that look? Again, DNR doesn't really care that it gets moved, as long as the same principles of not disturbing the bank and whatnot and are met. So we have had somebody call and ask about the property. Ultimately, as we look at opportunities to sell, I am also conscious that at some point, if we sell it, we still have a problem, right? We still have the possibility that the property is going to fail. And we have a responsibility as the city to enforce, you know, the codes to ensure that there isn't a bad situation that happens. So we don't want to obviously sell it and then have to tell somebody to spend a lot of money to make sure that it doesn't fall in. But we don't, you know, even with a report from, you know, city staff looking it over, we're not gonna be able to tell anybody how long it's gonna last. I don't think anybody's gonna be able to tell that. It could last another 25, 30 years, right? And do no harm. At the end of the day, then it comes down to what's the plan? Is there, if there's no plan for the structure, no sale of the structure, it does become a problem from even a blight perspective because it's not being maintained, or, you know, if there's, you know, raccoons all over it, right? Like, it becomes a problem, right?
There is.
So, you know, those are all the things that we've talked about just internally since reviewing this memo. You know, we certainly can put together a small report, look at it, not spend a ton of dollars in doing that, and try to game plan some things, but ultimately, the Common Council authorized it to be sold with preservation or reuse as a goal. You know, how realistic is that at this point is the next really big question that somebody has to answer. And how much money can and should the city put toward preserving this structure that ultimately could just become a bigger problem.
No, do we own the city own the lot in front of it there where the brewery used to be? Like where maybe it could possibly just be moved like 30 feet off the river or something like that? And
There's
then,
not that much in the easement.
oh, there isn't? Oh.
The
The
rest,
city does own it.
Yeah, it owns it, but
That's
it's not.
the city owns it. That's a contaminated site with some
Contaminated.
some issues there that we have to address, and the building there has to come down as well. And that site is a candidate for redevelopment of something. You know, whether that includes something like the stable or not, I'm gonna say that any developer that's looking to redevelop that site isn't going to take a building that is in poor condition across a creek. I just think, so, and last month, we did talk about some of the challenges with this structure, so, just to let you know.
John, could we get a proposal or a bid from that group that raised or moved the little white schoolhouse?
Yes.
Because I know it should be lifted at least 2 feet, you know, from its, because we've already gone down this road before.
With that pier.
Yeah.
One pier.
And I talked to somebody about lifting that building up a long time ago. And I had a bid for that, and it was, well, for our $1,000 a month, it was kind of out of sight.
Right.
But that way it'd get high, you know, it'd be above the flood line or whatever it was they were talking about. And he was gonna replace 2 beams in there. I think it was the front one and the one that's on the side by the walking
Yeah.
bridge. Well, anyway, if we could get a bid from them, you know, to see how much it would actually cost to lift that up.
And I just had an idea, even if they gave us a bid to lift it and pull it ahead, that takes the risk of somebody to reclaim it, then that doesn't go into the creek. For somebody that would say, I'll take it apart.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
I mean,
moving, if it's to move it to a new location is obviously gonna cost more than just tearing it down
oh,
Oh, when we
on
were
site.
doing that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then having somebody move it off the creek to tear it down, is that gonna be more cost effective than just putting a net system or some
Yeah.
sort of,
They might have a system for that,
to
yes.
stop things from, if they do fall in. I don't think, just from thinking about it, I don't think it's gonna be, if you were to take it down, it would probably be something that's piece by piece and
Mhm.
pretty, a lot of manual labor in it to avoid things from just,
Yeah.
but,
collapsing.
Well, if you could get a bid
I-
from
I
them
can-
for just
yes.
lifting it up,
And then
or an alternate bid for moving it.
moving it,
Well,
right.
what could you build on the pier
But-
that's there without,
Again,
you'd add to the pier?
All the piers are there except for the one.
So you would
Once
add-
tipped, you'd have to tip it back up again, that's what the original guy was gonna do.
Just tip it back up,
Tip it
not add
back
on
up,
top
and
of
then,
it.
well, you'd have to add
Yeah.
sonotube or something on
Right.
top of it.
I like the idea of lifting it, but then we're still back at square one of
Yeah,
what are we gonna do with it? How much
That is-
money
Well,
are we
that's the
gonna put
biggest
into
problem,
it?
yeah.
And that's the big question, how
and
much,
that's what the residents should, if they're really interested in
and save it, yes, you could
saving
have a,
this, they're the ones that should tell us
Mhm.
whether they wanna see that, still there, or maybe they don't
Right.
care.
I can even call around, I know a couple guys that take buildings down, for the reclaimed lumber. I could
Yeah.
have a guy look at it, or a couple
Well,
of
I'm
guys.
sure that there'd be money there for taking
Yeah.
the building down,
Right,
because there's a lot of white oak in there and yellow oak,
All the beams,
or yellow pine.
yeah.
But all the
It's just
beams
that
are
it's
good.
over that creek, and that's,
Over the
like
creek.
Adam said, it's gonna add to the cost
Well, sure.
of,
Adam, does it have to be a certified kind of engineer? I mean, we have an engineer in Ripon, we could,
Yeah,
But
so I think what it comes down to is what level of detail and report do you want? I think anybody's conclusion is going to be the same. Like, it's going to be, this building has approximately this amount, and it's a wild guess. But most will recommend that either a lot of money be spent to stabilize it or it get removed. So it doesn't have to be, obviously, we just work with these engineers, they did bridge inspections and things for us, so we tried to mimic it off of that, and I think they went a little, extreme with the proposal just to cover themselves in it, because they're looking at it as now putting their name on it. They want to make sure that they do as good of a job as they can to ensure that the guidance they're providing in it is solid, and but I don't think, however, personally, I don't think whatever amount of money we spend on engineering, the same conclusion is probably going to come from it. So if you have someone who would be willing to look at it and just give an opinion, it doesn't have to be a certified person. Somebody could be a contractor. That if John, you have the contractors come and they say, "Oh, Nelly," that's,
Yeah.
things, if they see something, it's just as it's just as impactful sometimes as what a report would create.
Why don't we just set up a date just to get the building inspector in there and some of us, and just to get something going?
Mhm.
If we can just set up something and
That'd be the smart way to go.
just do that first before anything
I was
else.
thinking of Ralph Green,
Yeah, this
Okay.
guy's in
a certified engineer, and he is in town.
yeah, well, it depends on how much he wants to,
Well, exactly, and what he's doing.
yeah.
These people know exactly what they're up to. I don't know if you
Well,
know, but I
to a
just,
point.
I just thought it surprised me. I know local, we could beat
They know
it's true.
They know the math that they know.
Yes.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yes.
But they know.
So when I talked to MSA about it, they're like, "We're waiting for this day, Adam." They were aware of the property. they've seen it when they're doing their inspections
Bridge.
down on Hamburg Bridge.
Sure.
So they're like, you know, and it just comes down to whether or not there's a better way to kind of come to the same conclusion, or a cheaper way, because, you know, so.
Lightning.
Well, I think if we get, if John goes over
Yep.
there, he's a contractor. You know, anybody else, well, Billy knows what's going on. I do.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ron knows, and everybody knows, you know, we can't have a quorum. So,
Anybody can go down there whenever you want. If you
Yeah.
want, you can.
Yeah.
We can get it. We know how to get in.
Unless it's going down a little further, then we can't.
Yeah, then we can't open that.
But we change the screws.
well, anyway,
We put
yeah, and then
torch.
you get Sue down there. you know.
Yeah,
I think that would be the way to go before we go with high-priced engineers on that.
right, I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm glad that we got this cost, so we all look at the money and we can see that it's gonna be costly. I'm more than happy to contact the house moving company and then a couple demolition contractors and just see what their
Look at some
thoughts are of it
prices,
too.
That's all we can do.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, if we could provide like the netting or something, maybe, I wonder if the Amish would be cheaper for taking it down too, unless you're looking to like reclaim money off of like the salvage material or something.
That's up to the city, right?
Yeah,
yeah. In most
Because
cases, you
John
don't
and I
get any
both know
money.
there's money in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Interior framework.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's high dollars right now.
At the Fairwater Historical Society, we needed a new roof put on the Lions Club building, which is like a 1959 like ranch style addition to the old 1910 school, and I think we got quoted at like a roof for normal price, and it was like almost 30 grand, and the Amish did it for like 7. So.
Well, as long as they have the liability insurance and all that.
Right,
other
and that
stuff.
goes,
that ultimately comes down to it.
Yep.
As someone who's tore down a building and been called to the DNR in an enforcement conference after the building was tore down because the rules weren't followed,
Yeah.
we will follow the rules, and it
Oh,
will
yeah.
cost more money
Yeah.
to raise a structure, but that's better than having to go down to Madison and meet with our friends at the DNR. The contractor, whoever it is, that would tear it down would be responsible for tearing it down in a way that is appropriate, and following all permitting requirements and insurance requirements. If the people that tear it down, the labor is Amish or whomever, doesn't matter as long as the company that has the contract
Complies.
is compliant with the contract requirements.
Then a question would be, if, let's just say, out of the hat, there are people that are crazy and have crazy money, and if that was capable of somebody doing something with that, then the city could sell it, right? I mean, you have it for sale.
I think
It sounds crazy, but
I think there's a way to,
there are people with money.
there's probably a way to sell it.
But then they would be on their own for restrictions as to what they would do with
Yep,
it.
yep,
Because the
they would-
city
yep.
probably not gonna permit it for business.
Currently now, no, I mean, there's no way.
I mean, if it's, let's just say if somebody in there, they won a lottery and they got $1 million, oh, I'll stick this in it. So what can you, I'm just saying, what can you do with it if that was the case?
Very little.
Okay.
It-
That's the answer
it's-
to it.
it's
Should we
just
save it or not?
Because it's in a floodway. You know, even raising it up out of the floodway, you're still in the floodway, so you'd have to look at that cost, and then you get into, if it's a business opportunity, you have to meet commercial building codes, you have to put in bathrooms, you have to put in
Wheelchair
accessibility.
ramp.
yeah, ADA.
You're going up to
Sprinkler,
the-
sprinkler, water
Sprinkler,
sprinkler.
yeah, I don't think we'll have to go that far. You don't. Hopefully, you don't have to put an elevator in it. But
If you add it to the top.
and there's creative ways to get around some of that as well. But ultimately, you know, if somebody wants to buy it, to own it, that's fine. But at some point, again, there's the city's responsibility to make sure that it then also doesn't.
And if someone was to buy it in mind to take it down,
Yep.
you would still have the format for them to follow for pretty much everybody.
That would be through Sue Leahy, wouldn't it then, for permits? for
Permitting
them?
and
Yeah.
whatnot, but I don't know if we would sell it, and I don't know if that's the process we would go to sell it. I mean, we could theoretically, because then we're making money off it, but it would be just selling the personal property, not the land. underneath it.
Absolutely.
So there's gonna have to be to sell it even, it'll be a very tricky situation, because
the water.
The property underneath it is a DNR regulated
Yeah, we don't own it.
waterway.
It's not ours.
It's-
Exactly.
And some of the, yeah, so it'll be tricky, but somebody owned it in the past.
Yeah.
They built it there. I'd
Yeah.
like to see the pictures of that.
There's a reason why the city currently owns it.
Yeah.
Because no one else wants to.
I'll give it to you. I'll give you this if you let me go ahead in the industrial park. Even Stephen,
Yeah.
or whatever, but, yeah.
So at one time, somebody did want to buy that when they were doing the DIY thing, you know, and there was a realtor in town that actually contacted me, so they
Okay.
could go look at it. And the reason that they didn't buy the thing was because it's in the floodplain, they couldn't get insurance for it, because it is in the floodplain, and even if they raised it, they'd have to hook into the city sewer.
So, yeah, right.
And there is a few feet in the back there that they could do that off the Hamburg Street, I believe. But it was kind of like, they didn't want to deal with the DNR. And that's what it came down to.
Oh, understandable.
Yeah.
And the DNR has a funny way of telling somebody they can do something, but then when they actually want to do it, making their life a lot harder.
Yep. Well, anyway, that's my
Okay.
story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thanks, Adam, for the
Yeah.
info, though. That's,
Thank you.
now we know.
Okay, number 12, new commission members. Does anybody have any names in mind?
You had one, didn't you?
I had one, Rhonda Peer, or Per.
Oh, I know her. She was our old HR manager at the old factory in Fairwater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And you had mentioned Dave Sackerson.
Yeah,
So what I'll do is I'll forward these two names to the mayor, unless Adam wants to.
You can, if you want.
I should have just said Adam can do it, but
If you give me their, how to spell their names. and stuff.
I'll do it to the mayor then.
yeah. And did you want
Forward.
to ask him besides me asking him, or, you know, be formal about it because you're the chair, or should I just,
Who, the,
David Sackerson?
Make sure the people want to.
well, yeah, well, he told me he wanted to, so
Well, we talked about it, you know,
Yeah.
and he said, well,
Yes.
I guess, you know, but,
if you want to check tomorrow, if you have
I'll
time.
check.
I won't send this until Friday
all
then.
right, I'll check with him.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Okay,
Wasn't he on before?
Yeah, he used to be the chair
He
here.
was the chair, but he was problem with, if I remember, not that it matters, but he was always gone.
Yeah, he was on vacation a few times, I
A lot.
remember that. But he was here.
yeah, I would have thought you would have been here.
Yeah, and he
Because
actually
he's
got
like
the
basically
grant.
self-employed.
Yeah, and
he
he
does
got the
writing and
grant
things.
for the Tigard Street thing.
Yeah, I know Rhonda too. I mean, I don't know how many of you know Rhonda, but I think
Yeah.
she'd be a good candidate too. So
That'd be a good idea to have
Do we need two
Yeah.
positions or one?
two.
Two.
We need two, so I
Yeah.
thought, no, but yeah.
there's-
Oh, yeah.
there's-
Unless you can think of somebody else.
There's two open.
My wife had said something too, but we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Well, she'd like to be on the board too, or, you
Yeah.
know.
But
I can put down
God, this is a little
Sue.
one-sided, isn't it?
before you
Good
go
old
ahead with
boys.
that, I'll talk to her
What
again.
year is
Okay.
this?
Yeah, yeah.
Did I forget my cigars?
And if you think of anybody else or anybody approaches, just, put the name out there. Next meeting date will be March 6th.
Every time you say that, it's a month of this, like, are you
I
kidding
know,
me?
are you kidding me?
And here we are, it is 50-degree weather.
March 10th, we spring ahead in the clock, so,
In March it'll be below zero.
yeah, probably.
You wait.
We just got 12 inches of snow.
We will be paid back,
oh, is
I
it?
think.
So we
It's a
need
leap year.
a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Joe, second by Billy to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
So